Hello, third grade, and welcome back to another day of home learning. So today we are going to be wrapping up our lessons, looking back at the previous different topics that we've already talked about and doing some final end of the year review. So why don't you join me with some time traveling? So our topic would be finishing off, where did we come from and where are we going? So I wanted to do a little bit of a recap, a little bit of a review of what we've done over the whole year. And hopefully this will help you refresh your memory and help you better be better prepared for next year as well. So you can always refer back to this video if you want to. So here we go. So what have we learned in English this year? So first off, I really wanted to talk about stories. It was a huge part of our learning this year, and we've talked about different types of stories, right? Adventure stories, myths and legends, real life stories, and you've written multiple drafts and done a lot of good job with writing stories. And we've also read a lot of amazing stories like Charlotte's Web, Dustbro, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and we've also learned about different myths and legends from different cultures and countries, like Greek mythology. A lot of you guys remember Zeus or Hercules and different characters like that. So what are some examples of the story elements we have talked about? So by now, you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing the word story elements, but let's think about it. Let's take a moment. What do I remember? Some keywords could be characters, right? Theme, etc. So let's see. So as many of you guys remember, story elements, we talked about setting, where the story takes place, the theme, what the story is mainly about, the genre, what kind of a book is it? Is it a fiction book? Is it a non-fiction book? Is it a history book? Or is it a story about Hercules and Poseidon, right? Different kinds of characters, right? Conflict, which are the problems that the characters face in the stories. Climax, which is the highest point of the story. And also critique, which is your own opinion about the story or piece of literature that you're reading, right? So would you give it a thumbs up, a 5-star, a 4-star, and why would you give that kind of critique, right? You're explaining if you liked it or not and why. And also, we've done a lot of work with the Story Mountain, right? If I wanted you to remember anything out of this year, it would be this, how to plan and write a story, right? Together. And really think about brainstorming first and think about the different details that you can put in your story, right? Think about your setting, think about your theme, right? What do you want your readers to really think about as you are writing your story or any kind of essay that you're doing? So we have the beginning, right, middle and end. We have the climax in the middle, and there's multiple climax and conflicts and details that add up and lead up to the climax, right? So think of it as planning an adventure, right? So every story could be an adventure, and you have to be the author of your own adventure story. So moving on, that was a huge chunk of our year. So being the best writer, we also talked about how to become a better writer, right? So you guys have done an amazing job from the beginning of the year, and you've done a lot of work with writing and reading. So what does it take to be a good writer, right? Think about it for a moment. What do we talk about when it comes to doing good writing, right? What do we do to make our writing better? Maybe doing first, second drafts, maybe ring some bells, right? Writing multiple drafts to better our writing, right? Your first writing could be good, right? Like in the little picture over here. And your second draft could be even better. And then your final draft will be your best writing, right? So it takes time, right? It takes a lot of effort and it is a lot of work, but it is worth it at the end because it will have your best work produced. And we also talked about word choice, right? So word choice is a huge part of writing, and it has to do with, what do you think? What do we talk about when we say word choice? Why do you think it matters so much, right, as a writer? So let's see. So over here we have word choice, right? So we have different words. For example, these are some of the words that we learned when we were doing myths and legends writing, right? Words to describe heroes and villains, right? Different adjectives to describe them. So instead of saying brave, right? It's kind of a boring word that we use every day. You can use different words like valiant, right? Or different adjectives to describe villains like devious, right? Or malicious instead of just saying bad or evil, right? So I really want you to keep reminding yourself and remembering these different words, these interesting words that you have learned, so that you can really take it with you in the other grades as well in your writing, right? So if you have a word that you think you could replace it with a better word, I really want you um, to get used to thinking about word choice as you're writing, and think about, is there a better word to use instead of just using this word, right? So word choice is a big part of our writing. So a good writer has good word choice. So moving on from that, we also talked about letters, right? We wrote some letters, and our main one, we wrote some different formal and informal letters, right? Formal letters are most people that you don't really know very well, and informal letters, which means that it's not too, um, I would say, strict with rules or language that you're using. So informal letters could be to like your mom or your friend, right? Someone that you know very well. And then a formal letter would be kind of like the letter that we wrote to the president, right? So we've talked about different environmental issues that we've had. There's a lot of CO2 gas emissions, right? The greenhouse effect, you guys might remember. There's a lot of things, different environmental issues around the world. And we focused specifically on the problems of in Indonesia, right? We also talked about trash, but we also talked about slashing and burning, right? Slash and burn. So a lot of the farm lands and forests are being burnt down because of different crop production, right? Because of the oil production. And we wrote a letter to the president of Indonesia so that we can hopefully bring some attention to the different environmental issues that we need to stop from happening in Indonesia, right? So that would be an example of a formal letter. So you have your salutations over here. You say dear or to whom it may concern, and then you end your letter with sincerely or with respect, with love, and different things like that. So don't forget the format that you use to write letters, and make sure that you put it in chronological order, right? Sequencing words that we've learned, right? First, second, and then, right? So we also wrote some letters for change. So now we are traveling to our next unit that we've talked about, which were poems, right? So I wanted to read you some poems and do a little quick review on that. So this poem is called Your Best. If you always try your best, then you'll never have to wonder about what you could have done if you've summoned all your thunder. And if your best was not as good as you hoped it would be, you still could say, I gave today all that I had in me. So I thought this was a really great poem to kind of wrap up and sum up the whole year, because I know that a lot of you have really truly given your best in a lot of your writings and readings, and I just want to encourage you guys and thank you guys for putting in such great work. So when we talk about poems, right, remember the two main R words, right? Rhythm and rhyme. Right, rhythm is the beat of the syllables, kind of like the beat of the poem, right? If you always try your best, right? You're clapping along. And rhyming words are obviously words that end with the same sound, right? So there's some over here like wonder and thunder, right? Um, and be and me. And poets usually put rhyming words at the end of every sentences, and they create some kind of a rhythmic pattern, right? So it's also fun navigating through those when you're reading poems. And you also can't forget stanza, which is kind of like the paragraph of the poem. So this poem is consisted of two different stanzas. So first stanza here, and then the second paragraph, right? Second stanza over here. So next up, I have a little surprise for you guys. So this is a poem written for you by me. So here we go. The title is May You Become Brilliant Butterflies. May you become brilliant butterflies that fill up the room with no sign of gloom. May you always remember to love and to serve, to look after those who are hurting, and fight with them the battles they are fighting. May your smiles stay big and your worries stay small. May you always remember that you are loved like no other. So this is a poem dedicated to you guys, to all the third graders at Espeja Village. I just want to say thanks for a great year and best of luck in fourth grade. Written by Miss Christine. So now, where are we going now? So we've talked about the different topics that we've learned in third grade. So now what? You've done it. I am super proud of every single one of you guys, and I hope you keep being awesome writers and readers that you have become in fourth grade as well. So I have a surprise challenge for you guys, as I've already mentioned before in our Zoom meetings. I am going to launch an optional summer reading challenge. So this will be an opportunity for you guys to document your reading over the summer and track down and share what you have been reading over the summer. And you are going to be receiving a surprise gift at the beginning of next year if you are one of the best participants of the reading challenge. So I hope this will motivate you to keep on reading. You guys have done a phenomenal job during book week. So I thought I would continue on the tradition, and more information will be given out next week, and I will be giving you guys a link to put out your reading logs basically, and you can share pictures or videos or different platforms that you want to use, and keep on reading and share your readings with your friends. So that will be something to do over the summer if you want to do that. Yeah. And so all I have to say is keep being awesome. I love you all, and I hope you have a great break. And thank you for a great year. Really miss you all, and I hope you have a safe and fun, as it could be, time back in wherever you may call home. All right. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys again.